Yo, what is up, guys? So we're here going over a full guide on Path of Exile 3.9 MetaMorph Conquerors of the Atlas. So I wanted to go ahead and start off by just going right into the game. I think with a lot of different builds and guides, especially for starters and beginners, they clutter you with too much information. So I'm going to go ahead and basically drip feed it to you guys and just go through the full game process here. So we'll go ahead and create a new character, and for those of you guys that are just starting out, you're going to be wanting to do the MetaMorph League. This is where most people will be playing. If you're wondering what the heck these different modes are, this is basically like non-season. A lot of the stuff I will be mentioning is going to be kind of like Diablo related, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with Diablo. But so basically this would be like non-season. And then we would also happen to have MetaMorph, which is the one that just came out today and which everyone is going to be playing on. Solo self-found is going to be where you cannot actually trade or party up with people. You can convert it back to a regular character anytime, and then hardcore is just like hardcore. If you die once, that's it. Except for this, you're going to go ahead and become a standard character if you actually do RIP. So we're going to do MetaMorph. We're going to do non-solo self-found. I don't recommend people to do this, although you can convert it at any time if you want to. By all means, go for it. But we're going to go ahead, and for the sake of this video, we are going to be playing Ranger because most people will want to play Ranger just because there is going to be a bunch of new buffs with a bunch of the different abilities, as well as a set of new changes to the tree that are more so specifically for the Ranger. But there are a bunch of other options, but for this full guide, I can only really pick one character. But I'll walk you through everything. I'll hold your hand. So let's go ahead and get started. And so, because this game has some RNG, just as a heads up, you might not progress as fast. You might be a little bit faster than me. That's totally fine. And I do want to mention we are running a meme loot filter, so we're going to have Donald Trump sounds that are in the background when certain items drop. Don't worry about that. That doesn't change the gameplay. Same thing with like if I throw in any microtransactions for my armor, it doesn't actually change. Well, I'll have to actually acquire armor first for this thing to work, but it won't actually change the gameplay. All of the microtransactions in this game are non-power based. They're just for cosmetic, just as a heads up. I won't be clicking on any of the audio and listening to everything. But if you guys do want to listen to it in your playthrough, feel free to go and do so. Feel free to make a new character literally right now, and I will guide you through the entire game. We'll reach the end game here, and I'll explain things as we go along. So as soon as you hop into the game, I set my move only to Q. A lot of you guys probably like left click to be move only. This will make it so you don't actually target things when you left click on things. And then also for our ability, in our case it's going to be Burning Arrow in the very beginning. We're going to go ahead and make sure that's equipped. This is the first gem that we'll get. We'll explain everything as we go along, but a lot of times with the content creators, I understand that it's very overwhelming, especially when you hit this and you look at that passive tree, you go, oh my gosh, what's going on? But for those guys that do follow Path of Exile and do want the path of building that I will be using, it is a build by another content creator called Asoro that we've got and modified for our liking, and we're also going to be testing out the new stuff as well. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and skip all of the tutorials, but I will explain it for you guys. And also, if you are watching this on YouTube, I'm also streaming this on Twitch, so I'm not talking to myself. If I do say hi to people in my chat. But hello Guard, hello Rack, and hello DOA Hitman. How you guys doing? And also thank you so much for the biddies. But yeah, we're going to do a lot of Path of Exile today, and I mean a lot. I don't know if the filter blade should be on your entire account. Okay, cool. And so now we have Pierce. So what's going to happen is we have our Burning Arrow over here. Let me actually remove the latency showcase. So Burning Arrow is our ability. It costs mana, it does damage, it does fire damage. But when I go ahead and get this Pierce support, and you'll see that it says Active Skills Burning Arrow, which has a little green check mark. What that means is if I go ahead and equip it into my bow slot, it's going to have Burning Arrow, and it's going to go ahead and pierce through 2 additional targets. Now the downside with most of the gems is really just mana costs, but they have to also be linked, and they also have to be the correct color here. So like I said, I will be going over like a lot of different things in this video, and there's so much to cover in Path of Exile. And that's why when a lot of people look up these beginner guides, they get overwhelmed because they go and show too much, and I totally get that. So I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible, but if there are things that are still kind of confusing, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And then now we'll have this cool looking armor here. Yours might not look the same, but I can go ahead and equip this. It just is a cosmetic. It doesn't actually change up the gameplay stats or anything like that. And this game is, it's very fun indeed. I highly recommend this game if you have played Diablo and maybe you've felt like you've already experienced everything, or heck, you just want to play a new game. They just updated it with MetaMorph, so there's going to be a new mechanic. There's going to be a lot of things that we'll have to test also, because there are newer things to the game that actually no one has tested because, well, I mean, I shouldn't say no one. I guess the people that worked on the game actually tested it, obviously. Well, I hope they did. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go into town. And then this video will also be probably going to, like, a brief explanation of the trading system in this game. Okay, so now that you've gotten a skill point, this is the skill forest, as I like to call it. But here's what I'm going to recommend you guys to do. I'm going to make kind of two different builds in my video. One's going to be more for people that are willing to go a little bit more all in, which is what I'm interested in doing for this build. And I'll probably respec out. I'll basically be like 1,000 life lower towards the end game, which really comes down to about 20% less life. However, if you just get good and dodge, you don't need to worry about that. However, specifically, you should get evasion of life, and then you're going to path and go this way, and I'm going to go this way. If you want to follow my build exactly, feel free to do so, but I'm just going to warn you guys, I like to play a little bit all in. I like to just go ahead and rely more on the dodge mechanic versus... Actually, not going to close path of building. I think we're getting some lower frames because of that. And then we're going to go ahead and talk to Bestel over here. We'll go ahead and just do all the quests just because I think it's actually pretty good to do. So we're going to go ahead and immediately get Ice Shot. This will scale basically for the rest of the game, which is excellent. You can literally get to the very end of the game using this skill. Obviously, you're going to like modify it and change things as we go along in the game. But just pick up any of the small things early on, and you can go ahead and actually that one is too. And you can sell them for like some small currency. It's very, very minor in the very beginning, but you can go ahead and see this is the first town, and this is where you can go ahead and purchase items. This is the vendor, and you'll see what the items actually cost. So in this game, unlike Gold and Diablo, the items cost other forms of currency. Or like, I guess kind of if you want to think of it like material in Diablo, that's what essentially these cost. So I'm going to immediately grab one of these iron rings. That's just going to give us some extra damage to our attacks, which is going to be nice. And go right back in. So I see someone said, does this game look better? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't played Path of Exile. I skipped out on last league. But I want to see this new MetaMorph. Whoops. I'm going to go ahead and put Ice Shot over here. So now we have Ice Shot over here, and we have Pierce. So it's going to go ahead and go through. And these are our flasks, because probably should have explained this. So red ones are for health, blue ones are for mana. And we just got one of the new mechanic items here. So let's go and check this out.
Come no closer.
I'll actually listen to this one because I haven't heard it before.
I am Tane, a freedman, and I plan to stay that way. Trust is not given freely, Exile. It must be earned, and you have not earned mine yet. But I do have something to give you. An opportunity. What makes you, you, or me, me? Some say it is the soul. An intangible something that exists before we are born and carries on after death. But I have seen souls that walk the land here and show nothing that distinguishes them from the rats and the rowers. It is something else. Something no man has discovered. A whisper. A flickering flame that burns through every inch of our being until it is extinguished. But what if we can capture it before it burns away? Bottle it up. Save it, and perhaps even give it a new wick through which to burn once more. You will find no shortage of ferocious beings near here. Kill them. Cut from their flesh a sample and bring the samples to me. We will discover the essence of being.
Okay, so let's see if we can actually do anything with it. Okay, so how it works is you fill up. I actually did kind of briefly like check this out. However, I've not actually done it myself yet because it just came out today. So what you're going to do is you're going to get these organs as drops, and you basically put them in, and then you create like a new monster with all of these parts, and it'll have like things that will be modified based on the things that you put in, which is actually kind of cool. That's basically the MetaMorph League, and we'll see how it goes. Oh, you can just spawn one. Oh, that's pretty cool. And this just spawns him.
Exile.
And you just...
What makes you...
Okay, that's all it is. Can we, like, put this back out? Okay. So I guess we're just going to go ahead and eventually acquire things. Oh, I should also mention, you can still level up gems even if you don't use them. So how gems work in this game, they're basically skills. And if you want to level them up, you just have them equipped. That's all you need to do. And you'll see over here, once you level up, you just click there and it just levels it up. I do want to mention that it's for very specific things, mostly like cast when damage taken, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys with too much information, but sometimes you don't actually want to level up a gem. Most of the time you will want to, but there are certain times where you don't want to do that because of the mana cost, of a requirement for like the intelligence or strength or dexterity. Like you just don't meet the requirements for the thing. PoE's #1 on Twitch right now. Oh, that's great to hear. I do enjoy this game a lot. And I love that they actually update the game quite frequently with, I would say, a little bit more meaningful content. But we'll be diving into the new content here very soon. I believe at level 4 we'll be able to get Siege Ballista. I believe it's a reward too. But we'll have to check that out. So you can see with the ice shot, when I'm shooting an enemy now, behind them there's like this little like shards of ice that will go behind them. And just like in Diablo, gray items are like the worst. Although in Path of Exile, there are certain things that can make things more viable. You could basically get your starter bow and play with it until the end game. So we just leveled up. We're going to go ahead and put in another skill point. After we go ahead and clear out the enemies, because it's not like Diablo where you can hit escape and the game will pause for you. So if you are playing on hard, actually, no, none of you guys are probably playing on hardcore. If you're watching this video, like just don't play on hardcore. This game is not friendly like Diablo and has a like cheat death skill or passive is what I should say. This game it's more hardcore in that sense. Although you can immediately hit exit really fast if you're fast enough, or if you're lagging a little bit, you get unlucky sometimes. That's just part of the game. So you see that the base crude, well, the base of the crude bow is like 5 to 13 damage, and then you'll see there's also critical strike chance. Everything that gives you crit chance in this game, it's not going to be. I'll explain that when we get a little bit more into it. But basically, everything multiplies off of the crit of the weapon itself. So you can see this adds increased damage. However, this is not going to be better because these aren't linked. If I go ahead and put this in here, and then I go ahead and take that ice shot, I won't have that pierce support. Do I want that pierce support? Kind of, but honestly, I can do without it. For now, I'm going to go ahead and utilize it. So sometimes things won't always be better just because they have more damage. If you lose out on links, usually it's not worth it. But because the ice shot actually does damage behind it, it's kind of fine for me. So like I said, if you are playing and you want to be a little bit more tanky, go this route. And in fact, I recommend most of you guys to go this route. But we'll do a full guide over here so you guys can follow along. I'll try to keep these maybe at like anywhere from half an hour to 45-ish minutes. That way they're not like super long, but they're long enough for each like part, I guess, of our full Path of Exile playthrough. Because I did know a lot of people did want to kind of get into this game, because every time there's a new league, everyone wants to just start up the game, and so this is a great time to start, and a great time to make some new Path of Exile content as well. And I've played this game a lot. I just legitimately don't upload content on this game, but I want to start, obviously. Now is indeed the great time to start. But yeah, it's not that hard to reach endgame. It's just more difficult at the very end game to do certain types of content with every character. I play a build called Flicker Strike, and what it does is it teleports, and you have no control over your character when you're doing it. And usually it leads to areas where you're standing inside AoE, but sometimes it dodges a lot of things. Oh, this is a waypoint. If you guys are familiar with Diablo, you can go right back into town and then sell all the trash for items. And we'll go ahead and show that off. There's also town portals, just like in Diablo 2, But you can't just go back to town anytime you want. Alternatively, if you really want to, you can exit the game, reload in the game, and you'll be right back in town every single time. But I'm going to go ahead and go back to Nessa. She's the one that purchases things. And I'm just going to slam and sell basically everything early on, just so I can get some Scrolls of Wisdom. This lets us identify items, just like you would right-click in Diablo. In this game, you have to have a Scroll of Wisdom, which is like a Scroll of Identity. And that's how you get the items. I'm just going to purchase another Iron Ring. Most of you guys will probably also want to pick up Iron Rings early on in the very beginning, as they just add flat damage, and it's just kind of nice to have here. Alright, let's go. Hello, friends. How you doing? I'll check that link out in a bit. But thank you. Alright. But if any of you guys are playing this game in my chat, what are you guys playing this this patch? I guess I should just go to my friends and just look. So we started a little bit late. I mean, some of my friends are like level 30s right here. But I was working on my thumbnail, all the tags and stuff like that, so I can get this video to you guys as quickly as possible, not have to like wait. And we just leveled up again. And oh, there's another Iron Ring. So these are great to have. In the very beginning, I'm going to pick up basically everything. And then later on, we'll try not to pick up, like, everything. But the game will start out relatively slow, but it will get much, much, much faster. Especially with Ice Shot and Tornado Shot. And Ice Shot has actually gotten a buff. Tornado Shot got a nerf. Oh, nice, we got extra mana regeneration. We got another item over here. And we'll eventually craft these... You know, I feel like we should do most of the quests. We'll go when we go back. We'll go ahead and do the medicine chest. The reason why you'd want to do some quests, they are rewards that will give you skill points. There's rewards that will give you items. But right now, our goal is to get enough like currency to actually buy certain items. Specifically Quill Rain, because I love having 100% bonus attack speed. So this video will also cover how to purchase items in the game, not with like real money, because you're not, well, technically not supposed to do that, but like you can't really buy items with real money. It's just cosmetics. But we will go ahead and cover how to trade. Essentially, I should have said trade instead of buy items, but same thing to me. Because trading is a huge part of this game. It is definitely what makes this game. Oh, is that triple link? Okay. Oh wait, is it triple linked? If it's oh no, it's not. If it's 3 linked, it would give us a huge amount of DPS because we'd be able to basically throw 3 different skills, well, 3 gems in it. There's your regular skill gems, which is like Ice Shot over here, and then there's support gems like Pierce over here. So basically, you usually have, unless you're doing something very specific, you're doing 1 skill gem, and then the rest are going to be all support gems. But we're coming up to another one of these new like MetaMorph mechanics. I'm curious to see how it is. We also happen to have
that's nature for you.
We have 2 skill points, and so we'll go and throw those in. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it into attack speed again. Don't copy mine. Go this route, and then you'll meet up with me in just a moment. Whoops, we almost died over here because my build is gonna be a lot squishier, especially in the very beginning. Like we're getting some latency here. It's probably because everyone's playing the game right now. That's usually what happens. And in fact, a lot of times, if you can't log into one server, you'll have to go into another one. But you probably already logged into a server at the very beginning. And if yours is too laggy, just swap it. Sometimes I have to do that too. If there's too many people on your server, you'll have extra, maybe a little bit latency, but there's a lot of these items. These aren't, okay, I'm glad that these aren't in our like inventory, like these items that we're picking up. Hoping we can get some boots with some movement speed. Ideally, that's what we want early on. These don't give us any movement speed. I don't even have a Scroll of Wisdom here. But like I said, I'm going to be picking up a bunch of the items in the very beginning, just so I can... just convert it really fast, because we're going to be getting to the next area relatively soon, which will have a waypoint. Let's see if we can do the MetaMorph mechanic right now. You've never played this game before? Well, now is definitely the time to play it, because everyone's going to be starting off at basically the same... Okay, so we need to get 1 of each part. I wish we could just right click on it. Can we like control click? Oh, you can hold control and click on your items, and then so you see that some of these do different things. This one drops additional rare jewelry, so I definitely want to throw that one in. And then what are we missing? A heart? Okay, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and create this monster. And it's supposed to be relatively strong, so hopefully we can actually kill it. Sometimes these things are very difficult to do in the very beginning of the league. Like the league mechanic. Oh my gosh, it's supposed to like morph. I mean, that's the point of it. It's MetaMorph, right? And now there's an army? Okay. Okay, that was pretty cool. How much damage do these do? Okay, it's not that bad, I guess. Oh, we got a bow. Let's go ahead and grab that. I'm just gonna sell this item because it's probably worth more currency. These are pointless to have. And then let's talk to him, see if we get something off of it.
Do you see now what we think?
Okay, it's just quest complete. So we need to grab, I think, one more of these like eggs. It's part of like the quest, and then we'll go to the next area, and then we'll go grab the medicine chest because it's part of the quest. And I want to try to do most of the quest just for the full like experience of Path of Exile here. But like I said, the game will get much faster. It's just early game in most action RPGs. You get like one skill, you gotta spam one skill for a while, but it'll get crazy and it will get a lot more entertaining when things get a little bit more dangerous. And we have like more mobility and stuff. There's a lot more things to mess around with, but in the earlier games, well, in the earlier stages, it's just going to introduce you to things relatively slow. So what you can do with anything that can AoE behind it, like this eye shot skill over here, and you get it literally as the first like skill in the game after you go right into town. It scales very well too. Alright, so this will allow us to go to the Seperate Passage, which will have another waypoint. And again, if you want to go back into town without using a portal, you can go ahead and just close, like you just go to character selection screen, and you'll be right back at town. But you won't have like a way to get right back into it unless you happen to have like the waypoint that's relatively close by. And I can feel like as soon as you go into town, the latency here. But I do kind of want this boat for lots of reasons. Not only does it have links of 2, but it's a 3 link. And what else does it do? Add some lightning damage. And we'll go ahead and throw everything else. Actually, I kind of want to keep the boots just in case there's something else that gives me like a movement speed buff. And this is probably really low chance. Let's go and go with this because it's going to give us extra life, extra damage, and then we also regenerate life and then life on kill. So it just does a lot of like nice things for us in the very beginning. So we're going to sell like our things that we don't need. And some of the stuff won't give you like any currency. And then since we just got 1 armor scrap, this is going to increase the quality of an armor, so that can be like in your helm. Actually, now you can technically increase the quality of certain jewelry though. But basically, whatever armor it is, it'll give you more armor or more evasion or things like that. It's just all plus, and it can go up to what does it go up to? It goes up to 20.
Stay sharp,
And then we also got another reward. Oh, we got dash. Okay, this will be really nice to have because it makes it so much more enjoyable to play. And then now we also happen to have Shrapnel Ballista. So let's go ahead and equip that as well, and we'll see one of the newer skills here. And since I said we would do the most of the quests in the very beginning, we'll do some of them because of rewards. Some will give you skill points, which is actually quite nice to have. Oh, we have the mud flats. You know what? We'll do that one first. Let's go ahead. Let's do that one first. We can skip out on the medicine chest for now. I will do the other one because I believe it gives us a skill point. So we'll go over here. And, oh gosh, it's all the way back there for the... Oh, did we not get the waypoint? All right, it's fine. Yeah, we'll go over here, and then this will let us go and kill all the monsters in the defeated pool, which should be like right here. And we have this new skill to mess around with, so I'm going to go ahead and equip that. Here's what it does. It throws up a ballista, and it is a little like AI that just shoots. It's quite nice. And we also got dash over here. This is what dash does. It just costs 4 mana. It's a skill that will basically carry with us to the end game. And so as of right now, you can only have we have 3 on default, but you can increase that. So we'll see how good that thing is. That's something new. I kind of want to test that out. We'll go ahead and definitely grab that because that has 3 links, so we can actually have our Shrapnel Ballista actually do a little bit more later down the line with other support. So it'd be great for that. I'll go make sure we level up our skills. So there's just a lot of stuff to go ahead and cover. But yeah, we'll go ahead and kill all the enemies here. If you've played Diablo 2, think of like the Den of Evil. It's just healing all the enemies. And we just got something that grants us Energy Shield. What that is basically another form of HP, if you will. It's a little bit different. There are other mechanics that I don't want to confuse you guys with. But it's called Chaos Damage that goes through your Energy Shield, but there's a certain thing that makes it so it doesn't. Yo, Neon Teddy, thank you so much for the sub, Reno, man. I appreciate it. I owe you a hog, Squeeze Reno. I'll give it to you right now. So let me go ahead and squeeze that hog for you. Oh, thank you, mate. I appreciate the sub. But welcome indeed. Teddy, how you doing, man? Oh, you found me on YouTube. You like my content. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm guessing from Diablo? Or was it from the recent Path of Exile video?
Pruning a branch can save a tree.
So we're gonna eliminate this guy over here. Oh, we should throw up these ballistas. I gotta get used to that. I don't normally play with ballistas. They were kind of in the game before, but they basically gotten a huge buff. The, I guess, fluidity, if that's a word, is just so much better. Dude, we're almost half an hour into this gameplay. Oh my gosh. Dude, it's crazy how much time that I could sink into Path of Exile and then not notice. Like, when Legion came out, which is, I'd say, it's one of my favorite leagues, I played it, and within, I don't know, like 7 hours, I just noticed, oh shoot, I probably should get something to eat, you know? But it just shows you how good this game is. It's very addicting. I hope there's not an enemy right there. I mean, if you guys have played Diablo 2, Den of Evil, you know there's always one enemy, and you just can't find them. Sometimes these enemies charge, and they'll go, like, off-screen, if you're not paying attention. But I gotta be a little bit faster here. I usually just play Flicker Strike, so I'm used to just literally holding down Leap Slam, which is that mobility. It's a mobility ability, and basically I just hold one button down and I can just turn around and not really pay attention to most things, and it just snaps to different targets, and we eliminated all the enemies, and that's going to be the end of that quest over here. But so like I said before, this is a great little strategy. Wait, actually, did I get the, I don't know if I got the waypoint. It's fine. So if I go to character selection over here, and I just go ahead and actually we'll go ahead and select the Metamorph League over here. Because I have a bunch of other characters that are very high level, but because it's a new league, aka new season, yeah. Stay sharp. Okay, so this will give us passive respect points, which we'll think about using. I don't remember off the top of my head, and you know, I'll put a link down below in the description box of what quests are actually like good to do, because some quests it's completely pointless to do for the most part, because the gem that you get is either not very useful for most of the builds or my build, so I'm just gonna skip out on them. Or they'll give you a reward that's just, it's not really that great. But I do want to at least get up to the first boss. I think that'll be a good closure to the first part of our installment of like the full walkthrough of Path of Exile 3.9 Metamorph, which we will be going Deadeye. That'll be basically, if you want to think of it like the, well, it's called an Ascendancy in this game. I'm trying to think of a better way, like a subclass, if you will. So you have your starter classes in this game, and then eventually you will get to a more like finite build, because every class in the very beginning will see the exact same skill tree. I know it's a lot to show you guys in the very beginning, but eventually later down the line, you'll be able to pick a very specific class. And that kind of more so defines your class as a whole. And eventually we'll get hopefully an item so we can trade at least within the first like couple hours of the game. Yeah, we'll definitely be able to get some currency. This is not going to be like the fastest guide. It's not like a speed run or anything here, but I do want to go ahead and try to do things a little bit faster and not do every single quest, but I do want to do maybe some of the ones in the very beginning. And actually, you know what we'll do in part 2 is I'll actually get all of them And we'll make sure we do all of the skill quests and all of the Trial of Ascendancies, which are these kind of it's like a test of your actual like mobility. It's actually really cool. They did a really great job on that. Oh, so you followed me from Diablo. I gotcha. So are you playing this game, Neon Teddy, this season? If not, this is a really great time to go and start this game. Not sponsored, by the way. I just really do like this game, and I think it's so much fun to play. I gotta make sure to spam. I gotta use more of my abilities here. It's just I'm not used to this build. This is kind of new for me. Because usually I'm just literally spamming Tornado Shot, going super fast, but we can go much faster. And that's just going to basically come down to us spamming on our dash, and as well as throwing out the ballistas a lot faster. I'm still picking up all these monster components. And I don't know, I think it's kind of a cool thing. We can go ahead and like kind of create a boss here. You know, I'm actually kind of curious. Let's go ahead and throw that thing down again. And you'll see that certain things offer essences. Okay, that's something maybe we can go ahead and get into, but I don't think we're going to have enough parts. Oh, so certain, like for liver, there's only one part. Oh, okay, gotcha. So we don't have enough parts to go ahead and create whatever we need to create. You haven't played this game before? Oh, like I said, dude, this game is so good. If you like Diablo, you'll probably love this game. And because we're doing like a full tutorial here, if you get lost, you can. If any of you guys get lost in the chat, you're welcome to ask me. I'll try to help you out as much as I can. Although my bow knowledge is a little bit more limited, but like I understand things that you want to get, like Dying Sun. I have like a level 80 something Deadeye, but it was a raider that I decided, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and test out some stuff for another. It's for like another thing that I wanted to try out. But everything is kind of new today for everyone in terms of like a lot of the nerfs and buffs that Bo has gotten. Ice Shot is really good though. Like, I feel like we're just melting everything. We finally get a Quiver over here, so that's nice. And a lot of you guys will probably be rolling Ranger anyway, so Quiver, well, go ahead and you'll equip it, and it'll give you some bonus stats. There's really no downside to having Quiver. I'm going to equip that Circlet just because it offers 3 link. A lot of times in the very beginning, you're just really looking for links. Eventually, we will be getting unique items, and we'll be doing that through purchasing them or trading them. And they're really easy to get because you're just going to convert your currency into like what everyone wants, which is usually like Chaos Orbs. That's like a base currency in the game. Alright, let's go ahead and throw down a bunch of these. Oh, that's right, it's only 3 totems. Okay. So, that. Oh, actually, you know what? We're going to grab this one because it gives us evasion. I usually want to focus in on evasion. Actually, what's this one? This is the Shrapnel Ballista. Okay, we'll take the Shrapnel Ballista. And we're gonna have to move our gems over here, so it'll be a little bit easier for us to level up other things. I'm probably not gonna be using, what was it? Was it Fire Arrow? Burning Arrow. I probably won't be using that. This is probably going to be, well, it's going to be Tornado Shot / Ice Shot, but we're also going to be dipping into, obviously, the ballistas because there's something new in 3.9, which is this league, which they've actually changed it up. So I usually just go for attack speed at the very beginning because I hate how the character plays. But again, if you're following me on this guide, go this route. So you're going to go evasion, evasion, life, evasion, life, evasion, life, and then finesse, which was actually going to give you some good attack speed. And then you're going to go ahead and go over here. And so you'll basically meet up with me in this path over here. And then we're going to go ahead and get a bunch of crit, and that way we can make use of having lower life. And with King of the Hill, which is a passive, it's going to allow us to hit our enemies back. So basically, we won't be getting hit from melee enemies as often as we should. We should just do this and just kind of path through them. I just want to make sure that they're killing most of the things. Unfortunately, it won't really show all the loot, because some of the stuff that's like smaller currency won't really make sounds, but alright, we got another waypoint over here. Dang, we're already like 34 minutes in. We're gonna go and grab the waypoint, and because the maps are random, keep in mind that like if I'm too far ahead of you, like right now I'm at the climb, over in the top right, the name of the area. Feel free to go ahead and pause it, or if I'm too slow, I guess you can pause it also. Let me catch up. I'm sorry, fast forward it. You know, if you're watching this on YouTube, obviously that makes things much easier for that. One thing I do want to admit that YouTube Gaming does have on Twitch is the ability for them to pause like the stream and then resume it at like the same spot where you paused it at. This is a pylon, or like a shrine in Diablo, and so now we have shock novas that just happen around us. So it's just free extra DPS. And just like most games, don't stand in the giant AoE, it does damage. So I'm going to talk Navali. This is like something about prophecies. I won't go too much into every single thing in this particular video because I don't want to overwhelm you guys. Plus, we don't have the silver coins anyways. So we'll show off that mechanic at a later time. I think right now it's saying that it wants me to summon this because maybe we have all the parts. Okay. So let's go ahead and throw in. Okay. Is there an enemy here? Okay. Let's go ahead and just summon a bunch of totems. One thing that will be really good for is all of the totems that we can summon literally right before the boss fight now. So some of these will offer probably some more rewards, like drops additional rare armor. Hopefully we'll get it unique so I can show you guys that. Cast Molten Shell, fast attacks, quick undead, and burning arrows. We're going to just throw that one on there. And oh, are we missing one? Okay, there we go. And we have another skill point. We're going to just slam that right. Oops, hold on. Let's actually fight this enemy maybe first. So they said that they've made the game a lot harder, but honestly, I can't tell right now, but maybe it'll be for certain other enemies. Okay, so we just got a circlet, a blade. We'll pick up that Scroll of Wisdom. The bow might do a little bit more damage. So go ahead and check that out as well. Where was it? What are we doing right now? 9 to 25. I mean, it might do more, but it's probably not going to be as good because we don't have that extra gem slot to go ahead and throw in. So I want to go ahead and actually get to. And I feel like the first one I might upload might be a little bit longer. We'll go ahead and do that. There's also what the heck? Oh, that's a weird tile set. I haven't seen that before, where they kind of make it look like you can go to an area, but like you totally can't. So far as the league goes, sometimes I skip out on the earlier content in terms of like the league mechanic. Let's go ahead and put the stat points in. I forgot. I'm gonna go attack speed in the very beginning. I'll probably re-roll things, and I'll actually go this path that I recommend you guys to go. But it's just because in the very beginning, I really dislike slow movement speed with my attacks, or I guess I should say attack speed. But even like movement speed in the earlier stages in any game, I just don't like how slow it is. Although they give you dash really early on, so I like that they give that. And there's a mobility option for like every single like class. Some can actually do damage too, like leap, slam. It's not going to be really for the damage, but like it's just kind of cool that they're all kind of more unique in that aspect. So right now I'm going to focus in on just throwing down those ballistas, and I'm just going to go ahead and move through the targets here just so I can clear out content a little bit faster. But there's a nice little group of enemies here. So this one I'm going to go actually next. We're going to kill these ones. Grab the Scroll of Wisdom. We got a new mana flask over here. So flasks, oh, I should probably explain this. Like I said, there's so much content to explain, and I think with this beginner guide, we'll be able to explain everything again at a much better pace. So this is a mana flask. You go ahead and equip it by dragging it over to your bar. I think can you drag it over here as well? Okay, you can drag it over here as well. But you'll see this one's empty. How you refill them is you kill monsters, but there's certain other passives and other things that can actually modify how those recharge. Some of them will just straight up let you recharge it over time without maybe taking damage or not using another flask. There's a lot of unique mechanics in this game. I'm gonna pick up this as well. So I like how that they show up on the mini map. If there is a unique that does drop, I'm using a loot filter, and I will link how to install a loot filter down below. I actually just uploaded that last night. It's a meme filter. You don't have to apply the sounds if you don't want to, but basically we're gonna have some fun with it. And a lot of streamers have it because it's I would say it's just part of the fun, and people love to see what other streamers have for their sounds. And there is a mechanic where you can phase through the enemies. So like right now, unit collision still exists because I feel like that's something that's kind of important to mention. For certain builds, you really want to watch not getting basically surrounded by your enemies, specifically builds that don't have enough sustain. Alright, so let's go ahead and throw in that extra attack speed. We're going to actually go straight over here, and then I'll probably go ahead and grab these watchtowers. Again, if you want the full build, I'll have it down below in a paste bin for Path of Building for those of you guys that are familiar with it, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys are probably not looking for a paste bin build. I'll show more of it off. I guess we'll open up this as we go along, and I'll show you the pathing later down the line as well, in case anyone wants to like check that out. But I'm trying not to overwhelm people with content, because I know that that's the biggest concern that people have when they're learning Path of Exile. They just see too much at once, and because the maps were randomly generated, I know people might be at a different spot. So again, if I get too far ahead or anything, feel free to pause the video, fast forward the video, whatever. Oh, so you can see, I guess the enemy's marked with that green. It looks like a vial is like inserted into them. Gotta throw these down and make things much faster. Sawbones. And I don't know if any of you guys watched us. The original Spider-Man one, but there was a guy called Bonesaw. But so far, no good drops. But we'll get drops later down the line. And if not, we convert some of these things. We'll basically add them all up together. And we'll be able to get uniques by trading them with other players. And that will be something that we'll be covering in this video too, because it is so important to trade in Path of Exile. Like, it is one of the main reasons why I love this game so much, is later down the line, you can actually sit there and just play the trade market, and it's so much fun. Sometimes you can score deals, but unless you use, like, a lot of people use like these little scripts and bots to buy things if items are listed too low. We won't go over listing items for a long time, but I will cover that as well later down the line. You know, this is where we just walked all the way right back towards the beginning. But that's okay. You know what? We got some XP out of it. We're at a complete loss. But yeah, we'll do a full walkthrough through PoE, and like to get to the end game, we're talking. I'd say at least like 20 hours. This will be a quite extensive project for me, but I do want to go ahead and do it because I know that there's so many people that are like, I'm confused on Path of Exile, and then I looked up like Path of Exile guides, because like I follow guides too on this game, but like 99.9999% of guides, I feel like they're not like friendly enough where like you can go ahead and be like, okay, I'm gonna follow along with them. That's what I wanted to try to do with my video, is we're walking through the whole game. I'm showing you guys everything. I'm showing you guys the new mechanic. I'm showing you guys and explaining things kind of slowly, so you don't see everything at once. And if the person tells you everything at once, most of the time you just don't remember everything. You know what I mean? It's just like in school when they teach you too much stuff, like it's just too overwhelming, and I definitely get that, and that's what I'm really trying to do. So if you guys are watching this on YouTube, or technically if you're watching this on Twitch too, if you guys have suggestions, because I know some of you guys follow me for Diablo and you're interested in like learning more about Path of Exile, but I want to at least get to like a boss, because I feel like it's good closure. So this boss has actually apparently been buffed. We'll come up to a boss over here. And all of these over here, these quests over here, you don't have to do all of them. Some of them you'll see that they say optional. Some of them are very worth it. And I will do all the ones that are worth it, meaning that you will get a skill point. So just like in Diablo 2, you will be granted these skill points, which are obviously quite great. And then we'll actually path and grab this over here, which is Jewel Socket. And I'll explain that also. If any of you guys have played Diablo 2, again, I'm going to be mentioning a lot of Diablo stuff because most of you guys have played Diablo. Think of it literally as a jewel in Diablo. but you put it on your skill tree, which is really cool. And you can see, like, I like how gritty this game is. You can see that blood trail, and you're just following it. And you see this room. We're entering the Warden's Chamber, coming up to the first, like, little boss here. Let's see how difficult this guy's gotten, because they said he got difficult. He's a little bit more difficult. So you don't want to stand on those spikes that come out of the ground. He does grab you, so watch out for that. But your shrapnel ballistas will actually be able to absorb damage. I probably would want to space them out a little bit here. All the shrapnel ballistas, I believe, have a shorter range. But maybe don't put them next to each other, so when he uses his spike ability... That was really easy! They really showed that off as, like, much more difficult, but maybe we're just good. Honestly, no, I don't think so. I think now that we've gotten some of these large flasks... Oh, you know what? These are unidentified, so... in order to use them, you can't equip unidentified objects, just like you can't in Diablo 3. In Diablo 1, you could technically do it. In Diablo 1, there's a mechanic where sometimes you don't actually want to identify items, and you can actually reroll saves, but that's a more complex thing that we won't get into, at least right now. I don't really want to waste that. We will identify some of the yellows. Some of the yellows, I don't know the exact, like, threshold on which ones are actually worth it, but sometimes you identify them, and they are actually worth just selling it to the vendor. Over here. And there are a lot of things like lores here that you can go ahead and check out. And you can move and still listen to it. I'm not going to listen to them, but for the sake of the video. This way it doesn't like kind of talk over. So we just killed the boss, Brutus over here, and he will be making a return. I won't give any spoilers really, but there are a lot of really cool features in this game. And this is going to be part 1 of our full guide on Path of Exile for our Deadeye Eye Shot, which will probably also be Tornado Shot because I love that skill so much. It has technically gotten nerfed, but I still want to try out other things. There's just so many other things to test out. I mean, just look at this. Look at how many new things got changed over here. Some of these are, well, these are new support gems that are like, they're called Awaken. They're basically advanced versions of skills, and there's also a bunch of different updates. There's so much new content to cover for you guys, and this is just really scratching the surface. So if you are new here and you do want to continue on this guide, go ahead and subscribe, turn that bell, and I'll be trying to upload these quite frequently. But that is our first installment of our fully walkthrough, hold in your hand guide for Path of Exile 3.9 MetaMorph, Conquerors of the Atlas. There's going to be some new bosses too at the very end game, which is going to be quite cool to check out. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be uploading part 2 very soon. But thanks for tuning in. Have a good one, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.